Hello, my name is Craig J. Davis and welcome to my channel. Welcome me, the Reverend Craig J. Davis. As Christians, as Christians we should know and always be aware that we live in a sick, a dark and evil world. And why do we live in a dark, sick and evil world? Because of the fall of mankind, which goes back to the Garden of Eden, when Eve was deceived by Satan, who disguised himself as a snake, who got her to eat from the fruit from the forbidden tree of knowledge. And when Adam found out, her husband or partner, right, instead of him who should have known better and put her in her place, he was also tempted. He fell into temptation, and he also ate the apple, or the fruit, because it doesn't exactly say which fruit it is, but in our culture we say apple, but it could be any fruit, It could be a pear, it could be a banana, but anyway, the point is, Adam also ate the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge. And that's when sin came into the world. And ever since sin has come into the world, it has separated us from God. And we have become a sinful world ever since. And it is only the belief in the precious blood of God's Son, Jesus Christ, that brings us back to having a relationship with God the Father. However, though, not everyone is a Christian. Not everyone believes in a God. And not everyone has a decent basic morals because they don't believe in God. And one of these people is a very evil woman called Lucy Letby. Now, as I said, as Christians, we all know about sin, right? We all know about homicide, suicide, right? All sorts of deaths, from stabbings to people being shot, etc. Blah, 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 right? Take gangs, for example, right? As evil as gang wars are, gang wars is understandable. Because when there is killing in a gang war, as wrong and as evil as it is, I'm not justifying their actions, but it's understandable why those people get killed. Because it's all about a turf war, or it's all about drugs, or, and basically it's about power. And in a lot of cases, power can lead to absolute corruption, and then someone gets killed, then that person who lost a loved one through that killing, who is also part of a gang, wants to take revenge. right? There's always a motive when it comes to people being killed in gangs. So that's understandable. As wrong and as immoral as it is understandable. But how can anyone fathom, right? How can anyone possibly fathom the actions of Lucy Letby? And for those of you who still don't know what she did, I will explain in a bit. In Psalms 127 verse 3, right? I didn't put a bookmark in it, but I'll find it now. Bear with me. Bear with me, I'm nearly there. Right, yeah. Okay, look, right? In Psalm 127, in Psalm chapter 127, verse 3, it says this, and I am reading from the New King James Version. Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward. I'll read that again. Psalm 127 verse 3. Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward. What God is saying there is babies, right, are a gift from a God. And babies should be cherished, loved, and protected. Yes, they shouldn't be worshipped, because the only one that, as Christians, should worship is God Himself. But, nevertheless, babies are, well, should be under the protection of adults. And Lucy Letby was a nurse. Parents put their trust in her. Why? Because she was a nurse. They're there to protect the innocent. They're there to protect and heal people. They're there to nurture people, including babies and children. But this nurse was a baby killer. She was a serial killer of newborn babies. And babies who were only a few days old. And that's why I cannot understand, that's why I cannot fathom her actions. What reason, what motivation could there be in killing a baby? A baby cannot antagonize you. A baby cannot provoke you. A baby cannot threaten you. So why kill him or her? And the only logical explanation I can say to that is the reason why she killed so many babies is because there was no reason. There was no motive why she did these things. How could there be? They're babies. You know, defenseless, innocent babies. She did it, and from what I'm about to say, I don't believe it's too far-fetched. She did this because she was evil to the core, and she was demon-possessed. And I mean that literally. A demonic possession she had. whether she had only a one demon inside of her or several, we will never ever know. But what we do know is, or what I know is for a fact, she's demon possessed. Yes, atheists and psychiatrists can come up with all sorts of things, they can come up with all sorts of diagnosis that, she was ill and she was mentally ill. Well, yeah, no shit. But if you ask me, a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, mental illness and demon possession go hand in hand. It is like smoking a cigarette and having a pint of beer. They both go hand in hand. Although having a cigarette and having a pint of beer, as detrimental as it can be to your physical health, it's not exactly evil, is it? That is a choice, that's a personal choice. These babies, they didn't have a choice. Now, it's possible that this Lucy Letby, and if you ask me, I don't think she even deserves to have an identity at this point. I think her name and identity should be completely stripped from her. But this Lucy, it's possible that she could have had it's possible that she has a Jezebel spirit. But what I do know for a fact is that she had a King Herod spirit. Sorry. A bit of a tickler in my throat. For those who don't know who King Herod was, he was an evil king. And like Lucy, he also committed infanticide. Infanticide being the homicide of babies and children. In Matthew chapter 2, and from verse 1 to verse 20, from verse 1 to verse 22, yes, it's a bit of a long read, but I'll go through it as quickly as I can, right? We read here what King Herod does, right? So in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 2, from verse 1 to from verse 1 to verse 21. So not verse 22, verse 21. Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and have come to worship him. Where does this cough come from now? When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. So they said to him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, but you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, are not the least among the rulers of Judea, for out of you shall come a ruler. Who will shepherd my people Israel? Then Herod, when he had secretly called the wise men, determined from them what time the star appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search carefully for the young child, and when you have found him, bring back word to me, that I may come to worship him also. When they heard the king, they departed. And behold, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. And when they had come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented a gifts to him, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Then being divinely warned in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed for their own country another way. Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I bring you word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed for Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was deceived by the wise men, was exceedingly angry, and he sent forth, and this is where the similarities are coming, yeah? Listen to this very carefully. Okay, I'll go back to verse 16. Okay, now listen carefully here. Then Herod, when he was deceived by the wise men, was exceedingly angry, and he sent forth and put to death all the male children who were in Bethlehem and in all the districts from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had determined from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation, weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted because they were no more. Now when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the young child's life are dead. Then he arose, took the young child and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. King Herod just like this Lucy Letby, he also killed children. But there's only one slight difference. Yes, what they both did was and is evil, was referring to King Herod, and is referring to Lucy Letby, because she's still alive, unfortunately. The slight difference is this. King Herod had a reason. I'm not saying what he did was right, of course not, but he had a motive. He had a reason why he had all of those children killed. Because he didn't know which one was the Christ. He assumed one of those babies was Jesus. Of course, Jesus wasn't there. He was hiding with his parents in Egypt. And King Herod thought that his life... King Herod thought that his throne was in jeopardy. And out of fear and paranoia, he wanted Christ dead as a baby, but he didn't know which one it was. He still presumed that Christ was in Judea or Bethlehem, and that's why he had every baby killed. But this Lucy Letby, she wasn't a queen of any country, right? She wasn't a part of royalty. She was just a nurse at a hospital in Chester, England. And now she's got life imprisonment. And as happy as I am for her to be there, and I hope she rots to death in her cell. Oh, I know it's not very Christian of me. Well, expect me to react. Prison isn't good enough for her. She deserves capital punishment. Yeah. A person who does that sickening, evil, disgusting act, they don't deserve to live. I said this, right? I once said this, and I'll say it again, because I made a video about this some time ago, right? About those parents not quite, because there was also a step-parent involved. That's right. As about, I wrote it down here, because about Arthur Hughes. Arthur Labinjo Hughes. Remember him? He was about 5 or 6, and he was eventually killed by his parents. Well, one was a parent and the other was a step-parent. I can't remember which one it was. And they are now serving life imprisonment. But why should us taxpayers have to pay for them to stay alive in prison? Just get rid of them. You know, we don't need people like this in our society. right? And speaking of Lucy Letby, when I said I hope she rots in her cell, reads the Old Testament. There's some stories in there that we are lucky to be living in the age of Christ, right? In the Old Testament, right, there, if you were caught collecting sticks on a Sabbath day, right, in other words, if you were working, doing labour on the Sabbath, which should be the day of rest, you were stoned to death. I made a video about this as well, but that was about 3-4 years ago now. And so yeah, but I'll tell you this as well, with this Lucy, for her sake, she better hope I would also say pray, but I don't think that that's going to come into the equation here somehow. Right? So I'll use the word hope. She better hope that she's in solitary confinement. As mentally torturous as that is, for her own safety, she has to be. Because if she is going to be sharing a cell with another inmate, she's going to have a hard time. Believe you me. Why? Because even though there are so many scumbags in prison, not even they would kill babies. Even they know that is sickening beyond the core. Yes, there are murderers out there. Adults who kill other adults. And that's bad enough. But to kill a baby, in which there's absolutely no excuse to do whatsoever, she's going to end up having a hard time. And she has to be in solitary confinement for her own safety. But hell is waiting for her. Because her, like us all, one day we will all die. We will depart from this world. And when the day finally comes, when her soul will leave her body, she will stand before the judgment of God and then end up in hellfire for all eternity. I'll just end the video by reading this. I read the scripture before and I will read it again. Revelation chapter 21 verse 8. But the cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexual immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. There are two words here, even three, right? But there are at least two words here that sum up Lucy Letby to a T. But the cowardly. Who kills babies? Cowards. unbelieving. Now, is Lucy Letby a Christian? No. And how do you know that, Craig? How can you say that if you've never... Jesus said we would know them by their fruits. You know, I mean, do you really think that a normal non-Christian would kill a baby? No. Who would? That is beyond anyone's pale. So, 1, she's a coward. 2, she's not a Christian. Her fruits do not even bear a slight resemblance of Christ. 3, right? Then we got the word abominable. Yes. What she has done is a abominable act. Now, what many people don't realise here is that the word abominable is the closest word that we can use to refer to what God absolutely hates, loathes, and detests. If you don't think God is capable of hatred, then you need to read this all the way through. Yes, God is patient, he's loving, and he's kind, but he also has another side. He can't abide by sin. God hates evil. God loathes evil. He detests evil. And what that evil woman did is the embodiment of evil. You can't get any evil than what she did. Killing babies, newborn babies, and only babies who are just a few days old. She's sick. She shouldn't even be here. She doesn't even deserve to breathe the same air as us. And I'm angry. And any decent, law-abiding citizen should be angry at what she did. And now she's in prison where she'll get fed and she'll get clothed and she'll be allowed to have visitors. Who would want to visit her? And she doesn't deserve any of that. She doesn't deserve an identity, a name. She deserves nothing. This country's too soft. Just get rid of her. Hang her. Execute her. Get rid of her. It's not often I get angry, right? You know, I am a positive person, right? I try to be positive as a Christian. I try to be patient. I try to be kind. I'm not nice. No, I'm kind. There is a difference, believe you me. But there's just things like this that get me so angry, right? It's so angry because it shouldn't happen. Like, who would want to kill a fucking baby? Pardon the French. But who would want to kill an innocent, defenseless life? And I think of all the grief that the parents are going through because they put their trust in her. She's supposed to be a nurse. What is she doing? And also as well, right, I've just had a flashback, right? Do you remember that girl who was killed by that police officer, Sarah Everett, was it? Or something like that, but you know, I'm going back some time now, right? And she was killed by a police officer. Again, a very similar role to being a nurse. We hope that we put our trust in them. We hope that we put our trust in police officers and nurses and doctors. Another one, Harold Shipman, a doctor. All these people are supposed to do goods. A police officer, the role of a police officer, right? Uphold the law, protect the innocent, and punish the criminal. That's it. It can't be that hard to do, surely, right? Harold Shipman murdered his patients. A doctor should swear by an oath, do no harm. And it's the same with a nurse. Do no harm. But I guess this is the world that we live in now, where anything goes, isn't it? You can be whatever you want to be. I identify as a cat on Tuesdays and a fucking horse on Thursdays, and don't do disrespect my pronouns. I have rights. Anyway, and of course, we got the last words here, murderers. And that is Lucy Letby to a core, a murderer. She's a coward, a murderer, and a complete abomination. And you wonder why I drink. And you wonder why I want to leave this world. How any Christian out there, how any Christian can want to be a second more on this evil, disgusting, God-forsaken, ugly planet. I do not understand your comprehension. Just how do your brains actually work? If this does not teach any Christian that this is not our home, this is not our realm, that this is not God's kingdom, then what is? I rest my case. Anyway, please comment, please subscribe, please don't hesitate to hit the like button. And to all of my brothers and sisters in Christ, if I do not get to see you all in this lifetime, I shall see you all in our Father's kingdom. Thank you all, and God bless.